Okay, let's jump straight in. We're doing a deep dive today, focusing on just one chapter, the very first chapter of First Thessalonians.
Right, an early letter.
Exactly. And the goal is really to, pull out the key ideas, see what feels relevant even now. It feels so direct, addressing a specific community.
It really does. And it's Paul, with Silas and Timothy, writing to the church in Thessalonica. You get a sense they knew these people well.
You feel that warmth immediately. The opening is just full of thanks. They say they always thank God for all of you, not just some, but all.
And they're specific about why they're thankful. It's not just vague appreciation.
What do they point to?
Well, the text says it's their work produced by faith and their labor prompted by love, and also their endurance inspired by hope. Hope in Jesus Christ.
That's quite a trio: faith, love, and hope.
Yeah.
But linked directly to actions: work, labor, endurance.
Exactly. It's not passive belief. It's faith doing something. Love motivating hard work. Hope fueling the ability to keep going.
It makes you think, doesn't it? Which of those maybe resonates most with you personally? The work, the labor, the endurance.
And the letter goes on to explain how this all started for them, how the gospel message first arrived.
Yeah, how did it come?
It says it came not simply with words, so it wasn't just a speech,
Okay.
but also with power, with the Holy Spirit, and with deep conviction.
Power, Holy Spirit, deep conviction. That sounds, well, intense. What does that mean, arriving with power?
It suggests it had a tangible effect. It wasn't just information being downloaded,
Okay.
The Spirit, God's Spirit, was apparently active, making the message hit home, creating this profound inner certainty, that deep conviction.
And you see the result in their response. The text says they became imitators.
Yeah, imitators of the missionaries, Paul and his team, and interestingly, imitators of the Lord himself.
And they did this even though things were tough. It mentions they welcomed the message in spite of severe suffering.
Right. But here's the paradox.
What's that?
At the same time, they experience joy given by the Holy Spirit. Suffering and joy together.
How does that work? Suffering and joy side by side. That seems counterintuitive.
Well, the text seems to imply the joy wasn't like happiness because things were easy. It suggests a deeper sort of spiritual joy that came from the Spirit, even amidst the hardship. It enabled them through it.
Okay, that makes sense. A joy, despite circumstances, not because of them.
And this led to a huge life change, a really fundamental shift.
Which was?
They turned to God from idols. That's a major turning point.
To serve.
To serve the living and true God.
Turning from idols. In that culture, was that a big deal?
Oh, absolutely massive. Thessalonica was a Roman city steeped in emperor worship, Greek gods, local deities. Idols were everywhere.
So turning away wasn't just like changing your religious preference.
Not at all. It often meant social isolation, economic hardship. Think about trade guilds linked to certain gods or public festivals. It was a radical commitment to this one, unseen, living, and true God, instead of all the physical representations around them.
Makes you wonder about modern idols, things we might prioritize over serving, well, the living God.
It's a relevant question for sure.
And the chapter wraps up looking ahead, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Grounding their hope.
Yes, it mentions they're waiting for his son from heaven.
Jesus.
Specifically the one whom he raised from the dead. And it adds, Jesus, who rescues us from the coming wrath.
Waiting and rescue. It's quite a forward-looking perspective. This expectation of Jesus returning seems really central for them.
It was fundamental. And the rescue from wrath idea ties back to turning from idols. It frames salvation as deliverance from the consequences of rejecting the true God.
So wrapping up this first chapter, we see this community praised for faith, love, hope in action.
Actions fueled by belief.
They receive the message with power, leading to deep conviction.
Not just empty words.
They endured suffering but found joy, turned radically from cultural idols to the living God,
A complete reorientation.
and lived looking forward to Jesus' return and rescue. And because of all this, they became this model.
Yeah, a model to all the believers in Macedonia and Achaia. Their faith became known everywhere.
So thinking about this today, how might faith, love, and hope show up in our actions, in our work, our effort, our endurance?
That's the challenge, isn't it? And what does it mean for us to serve the living and true God when there are so many other things demanding our allegiance, our modern idols?
And maybe one final thought to chew on directly from this text. What could it look like to live with that deep conviction and welcome truth with joy given by the Holy Spirit, especially when facing difficulties? Something to reflect on.